At the start of the movie, we are shown a girl driving. There were mountains all around the road. Suddenly, the girl's car gets into an accident due to landsliding in these mountains. In this, her car slips and gets stuck in the mountains. She was badly injured. Meanwhile, a rescue helicopter comes to save her at the right time. The leader of this rescue team is Lee, who is also the main character of the movie. He sends his partner to get this girl out of the car. The man goes to get the girl out of the car, but he gets stuck there. Ray entered to save both of them, and with the help of a rope from the helicopter, he managed to get them out of the car. They were all very happy. Finally, they saved the girl's life, but her car fell in the mountains. Anyway, to cut the scene, let's see Dr. Lawrence at the University of California. He is a seismologist who researches earthquakes. He was telling his students about an earthquake in California in 1964, which was so terrible that it was as if many atom bombs had been launched. California witnessed the effects of this destruction for many years. Lawrence says such a dangerous earthquake happens once in 150 years. He says the fault line of San Andreas in California is on the tectonic plates of the Earth, which means that the risk of earthquake is the highest at this place. After a while, we are shown that when Dr. Lawrence was in his office, one of his colleagues comes to him and tells him that an earthquake has just occurred. They immediately leave their work and go to measure the intensity of the earthquake. They both go to a very large dam from where they had to measure the intensity of the earthquake, and when they were doing this work, suddenly, the waves on their meter change. The increase in the waves was dangerous. Before they think or do anything, a very terrible earthquake occurs here. Actually, the waves were a sign of an earthquake. Everyone runs from there to save their lives. Dr. Lawrence's colleagues also run from here to save their lives. Meanwhile, they see a girl stuck in the dam. As they move forward while saving her, another large aftershock stops them there. He drops her to Dr. Lawrence to save that girl, and then another terrible quake destroys the whole dam, in which Dr. Lawrence's colleagues are killed. The scene cuts and we see Ray has received the message of coming to the dam in the emergency on which the earthquake had occurred. Many people were stuck there. Before leaving, Ray says goodbye to his daughter, who used to live with her mother. This means that Ray and his wife were divorced. Ray's daughter used to live with her mom and her mom's fiancé. Today, Daniel has to go to San Francisco for a meeting in which he is going to take Emma and Blake with him. In San Francisco, Blake meets a boy. He also had a younger brother with that boy. Blake likes to talk to both of them, and soon they become friends. Anyway, here we are shown the dam that was destroyed due to the earthquake. The news of the destruction had now spread all over the world because Dr. Lawrence was there at the time of the earthquake, so a reporter came to interview him. She asks Dr. Lawrence how the quake came there. Before Dr. Lawrence answers, Dr. Lawrence's two students come to him in fear. They had a report, and as Dr. Lawrence saw this report, he also got scared. He knew that a severe earthquake was imminent in San Andreas. This quake was going to be extremely dangerous, and it would take over all the nearby cities. There was little time left in this quake, which means they didn't even have time to get people out of those cities. Here we see Reiki's wife Emma, who is holding a meeting at a restaurant at the top of a building. Suddenly, all the things on her table start shaking. Actually, the quake had started. In the side view of this building, we see that all the existing bridges there have broken. This building was also shaking so fast as if it would break now. Emma quickly calls Ray in this difficult situation because she knows that Ray will come to save her at any cost. At this time, Ray, who is a rescue officer, was still in his helicopter. He says to Emma, "Don't worry, I will reach you soon and save you." In the meantime, we are shown that all the buildings there have started falling. There is chaos everywhere. Everyone is screaming to save their lives. Emma wants to go to the top of the building again because she knows that Ray will come to save her there, but as she opens the door of the stairs, she finds out that the second part of the building is destroyed and people were hung there to save their lives. Not only that, people were falling from above as if some human puppets were falling. Emma reaches the building's top from the other way, but another quake shakes this top too, and before Emma can die under it, Ray reaches here. He quickly throws a net towards Emma, and Emma starts moving towards that net. It is shown that a very large building is about to fall on Emma from behind, and before Emma gets buried under it, Emma climbs up with the help of the net. In all this destruction, a building was about to fall on Ray's helicopter, but Ray saves his helicopter here by tilting it. Finally, he saved Emma's life, but now he was looking from above that the condition of the city had deteriorated a lot. All the buildings there have been destroyed. The scene cuts and we see the scene in San Francisco where Daniel and Blake are together. They were about to leave from the parking lot together. Suddenly, a very bad earthquake occurs here due to which the ground in front of them breaks and their car gets stuck in it. Daniel gets out of the car and saves himself somehow, but now he is not able to get Blake out of the car. He goes out to get help and that there is chaos everywhere. Buildings have been broken and people are running here and there in fear. Seeing such a bad condition, he feels that he should also run to save his life. That's why he leaves Blake in danger and starts saving his life. Blake, who is still stuck in the car. A boy sees her. This boy was the one who met Blake at the airport in San Francisco with his brother. He also recognizes Blake in here. He helps her and pulls the car up from this pit and saves Blake's life. Now, when all three of them leave this building, they are also astonished to see the destruction of the city. Blake reaches a place with great difficulty where she gets a phone from here. She calls her dad and says, "Please, Dad, save me. The condition of the city has become very bad." In response, he says, "Don't worry, you do this. Go to a higher place. I am coming to save you soon." Ray immediately leaves for San Francisco. While in San Francisco, we see that the earthquake had stopped. Everyone was looking for a safe place, but here, according to Dr. Lawrence, we know that in San Francisco the earthquake had stopped for a while. There was going to be an even more terrible earthquake now. He had to explain that the scene shifts back to San Francisco, where the same devastating earthquake has struck once again. He dropped a few buildings as if they were made of sand. Everyone stands here with the walls to save their lives. At this time, Daniel, Emma's fiancé, was also there. When he sees people stuck to the wall, he pulls a man from there and stands there. Ray and Emma, who were in the helicopter in the air. When the helicopter's fuel runs out, their helicopter also crashes into a mall, but here, their good luck, both their lives were saved. They were still halfway and they had to get to San Francisco to save their daughter, so they stole a car and went ahead. After a while, Ray had to stop the car because there was a ditch ahead. When they got down and checked, that ditch was hundreds of meters deep. If their car had gone there, they would never have been able to escape. They could not go to San Francisco this way, so now they start thinking of some other way. Then an old couple comes to them in a car and asks them about their problem. Ray says, "We have to reach San Francisco at any cost." It turns out that this old man was a pilot and he also had his private plane, which he gives to Ray so that he can save people's lives. Ray gets on this plane and leaves for San Francisco. Finally, they reach San Francisco, but Ray sees that there is no place to land the plane at the airport, so he takes Emma and jumps off the plane. There is a stadium below. He contacts his daughter and says, "Blake, you had to come to the stadium," but she could not come to the stadium because the stadium was in the other corner of the city, and though it was very far, Ray had to do whatever was necessary. He goes outside and looks at the sea. He gets an idea that he can reach Blake by the sea. They were moving quickly when they suddenly noticed the clouds descending rapidly, but when they got closer, they realized that these were not clouds but a tsunami. The tsunami had already taken all the boats, but Ray, who was a rescue officer, knew very well how to handle this situation. He speeds up his boat and passes over the wave, but there is a problem because he sees that a huge ship is about to damage his boat. Ray turns his boat speedily and escapes from the ship, but the container on top of it is also about to fall on them. Ray controls his boat and moves forward, escaping from these containers. Finally, they reached where their daughter was, but they could not see her because Blake was inside a building. Blake saw her parents and called out to them, but her voice couldn't reach them because of the glass on the window. As they started to head back, Emma noticed a green laser light on her hand. They look back and finally they have seen Blake. Before they could save Blake, another wave of the tsunami that had already ravaged the city destroyed the building and the floor where Blake was. The entire floor collapsed into the water. Ray immediately jumps into the water to save his daughter. Blake's companion was also trying to break the window with a stick, but the glass was very strong, it was impossible for him, and then Emma saw him and pointed him to move aside. They break the glass with their boat. Here, we see that Ray has already saved his daughter. He brings her out of the water, but Blake is unconscious. Ray was trying to wake her up while Emma struggled to get out with her boat as the tsunami continued to demolish the buildings. The way Emma was trying to get her boat out of the water, the entire building was about to break before the building broke. Emma drove her boat at full speed and took it out. Ray, who was trying to save his daughter, sees that Blake has also regained consciousness. As she regains consciousness, they all leave from here after a while. It is shown that the terrible earthquake has stopped. The tsunami had also come because of this earthquake and now it has stopped. The entire city has been destroyed and rescue teams have come here to save the people. Ray had also saved Blake's friend Ben and his brother. They decided that Ben would stay with them since he was an orphan and Blake had also started to like him. The story ends with them safe and together.